Hey everybody, Catherine Perry here, the Big Vision Coach, and welcome to the very first Pro Life Tips Saturday here in the One Command Master Your Money Mindset Members Group. Thank you so much, everybody who's joined so far. It has been so thrilling, and I just have a big vision for this group to grow, not only to be a place where Asar and I can share some of the teachings of the One Command and to help you truly master your money mindset so that you can see the truth of your power and ability to create wealth on your command. And our job in this group, one, is to create enthusiastic support for your success. Two, to be a place where you can ask questions and share your wins and get clarity. And this is also where you get to give and share back, because we're all in this together, guys. We're all learning. And some of the things that we do in the group, we will be having some free webinars, some paid webinars. We're going to be talking about some of our coaching programs. But one thing that we will be doing every Tuesday night, at least through from now until the summer, and we may cut back the hours depending on participation, but is the Tuesday night money mindset, master your money mindset wealth circle. And that's where we come together. And this is kind of an outgrowth of the original Commanding Wealth Circle and then the Big Vision Commanding Wealth Circle. Now we're bringing all that into here so that we can be focusing on making commands for our business wealth, our personal growth, our relationships, our health, whatever it is that you want to work in, because money mindset, wealth is, really it affects every area of your life. The reason we talk about money is because it's the number one thing everybody worries about. And it's the number one thing that they put up as the reason why they can't have, be, or do that which they desire. And it makes sense, right? If you are in a lower vibration, I'm a worker bee and I can only get money through hard labor, what are you going to do? You're going to spend most of your energy working, which I'm going to raise my hand. Any workaholics here? Because I was trained to be a worker bee. I was trained to work really, really hard to get what I want. And if working hard got you what you wanted, I would have already been a millionaire many times over, because there's many times in my life I had 3 jobs plus some other side hustle going. And I always had these high stress jobs that took a big physical toll on me. And it wasn't until I started discovering the truth of my value, and my real value that I brought to these jobs was not all the hours I put in, but it was my ability to help people make money. I've always been a money maker for whoever I worked for. If I was even all the way back to waiting tables, my shifts made the most money. My girls were, female waitresses mostly at the time, but my staff were the most motivated, cohesive. They were excited about work, and my shifts always made the most tips out of anyone else. My stores that I worked at were usually the most profitable. And then when I went into apartment management, I turned into a rehab and takeover specialist, where I would, increase the value of the properties. I got the residents on board. I got them invested in bringing in more quality residents like them. I got my staff involved in being business builders, all the way from, I was the manager, all the way down to the person that swept the curb and emptied the trash. Every person recognized their value as a business builder, and my properties consistently, time after time, made more money and came in under budget. In fact, one of the properties that I worked for in Seattle, Washington, was a record sale in the history of, price per unit, price per square foot. That record from 20 years ago has not been broken yet. And the owner and the people involved in the deal pointed to me directly as a big reason that that was so. And they saw, because they saw how I built the community, they saw how I managed it, they saw how I had relationships with the building managers and all the merchants in the area, and how we all focused on success together. And it took me a long time because I thought it was the things I did that created wealth. And what I realized, it was who I was and my values and the skills that support it and the capabilities and how I'm able to communicate a bigger vision and a greater purpose in whatever it is that we're doing. And it doesn't matter. I can always pull together a team in a bigger, to come together for a bigger vision. And I realized, just a little bit about my story, that I knew how to do that for everybody else. But it wasn't until I met Asara Lovejoy and started really working on my own personal growth where I started to recognize the truth of my inherent value. And I always had this sense that I had this big purpose. And if you've been around me much, you've heard me make this joke. Like, I had this sense I had this big purpose. I didn't know what it was, but I was pretty sure I was screwing it up. If you can relate to that, be sure and say a thumbs up or whatever. But that's that was a big part of my journey. And then what I discovered was everyone that I talked to, didn't matter what it was that we wound up, whatever my focus was, people would always wind up coming back to me. It's like, I want to be able to be more independent. I want my work to matter. I don't want my life to be about work. I want to be able to do things that are important to me. I want to have time to think and take the classes that I want. I want the money to have the experiences. I want to be able to be a good provider for my family. And they all had these really clear values, but they knew that they were hung up on money. And so this is a big reason why I started my own exploration. And then even Asara was on her journey and her exploration, and was always interested in wealth creation, attraction, and how we can live our soul's purpose and let our business on the planet as a soul be supported by a business. And there's some people that they're not called to be in a business. It's too stressful for them. Working in a job is the right thing for them. Some people are retired, but you are always in the business of creating your own wealth. And even if you are in a job, a career, you are a business builder, because your business, again, is building your wealth, and you're in the business of taking care of yourself and your family and making an impact on the on the planet. And right now, it may be hard to see how you could have that kind of impact inside of a job. And I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't matter where you are, whether you're in a job or in your career, or you're retired, or you're unemployed, or if you're sick in bed, you have the ability to create wealth on your terms. And there is a solution right now. And the main thing that stops people, and this is what I want to talk about today, is this idea called resistance. And it's where they're putting their focus. And so often we have this want or desire, but we don't have the correct focus. We wind up getting distracted by, life, our families, our beautiful, loving families. It doesn't matter how awesome your family is or how awful your family is. Our families are going to bug us some way. And then, even if for whatever reason we no longer have our families and we find ourselves alone out in the world, then that family that's inside your head stops you, right? And then you wind up unconsciously replicating your family system. So it doesn't matter. We're not necessarily talking about blood relatives here. We're talking about your inner representation of your family, whoever these people are, the mother programs, the dad programs, where you are in your sibling constellation, that type of thing. But also what you have created as a family of support around you now. Okay. Right now, I just want you to know that it may seem like there are people who are against you. There may be haters and there may be negative people. And I hear so many people talk about, oh, you got to get those negative people out of your life. Well, you have brought those negative people into your life to be, now I want you to stick with me here. You have brought these negative people in your life not to stop you, but to where they are like, hey, they're your mirror, and you could say, what is it I really believe about who I am? Because if you're getting negative messages from the world, the only reason that you're getting that negative message is because there's a level of you that believes that's your truth. Okay? So what I say, am I giving a lot of, is this helpful? So what I say, instead of like going, oh, I want to get rid of those negative people. Well, that puts us in an oppositional role, and that puts us in struggle and drama. Okay? That's one. Think about just the people, right? Well, they're here to serve you in a weird way. They're like these angels of your growth. Wow, what an idea, right? Um, yeah, that bitch at work that steals your coffee, or that guy eats your lunch, or the people who are honking. How can they be the angel of your growth? Well, unless there was a match in your programming, you wouldn't even be aware of them. If they said something crummy, if they did something crummy, it just would not have any impact on you. Does that make sense? But the only way they can have impact is if there's a match. But what we do is we get caught up in the struggle. Okay? So that's just one example. And we do that when we think about our jobs, our health, our relationships. We do that in so many ways. We get caught up in why things are not working and why we can't have what we want or be who we want to be. So I've got 2 sheets of paper I'm going to show you, and I am going to post them here in the group, and I'm hoping these will show up right. This is the first version. Let's see if you can see this. Let's see. There we go. And like I said, I will post this. One side's my resistance. The other is my focus. And I've got some questions there. And this came from a conversation with a client. And she was talking to me. She has a particular sales goal in her business. And she used to really be a high seller. But now what's happening is her values have changed. Her life has changed somewhat. She's getting a little older. She's getting closer to thinking about retirement. But she's not ready to give it up yet. In fact, now is the time she really wants to generate more money. And there's areas of her life she wants to change. There's areas that she's not quite ready to change. So she's pretty clear, and she's working diligently on this. But what I was noticing was we were having a lot of conversations with the problems at her work, with what the boss's expectations were, with a particular coworker, with she was a realtor, she still is, the neighborhood, the area that she marketed, some of the people that she was dealing with. These were kind of some challenges for her, and she was feeling powerless. And then I asked her just to rate on a scale of 1 to 10 when she thought about all of this, all of these issues, right? 1, before I got to 1 to 10, it's like, notice how that felt. I always ask people, hey, how are you physically, emotionally, energetically experiencing this idea? Okay? And often when we work with the one command, people just go, oh yeah, I want that. And I'm just going to command for that. And I'm going to say it 10,000 times, unless that's wrong, Catherine. What do I do? And then I'm going to get it. But they never really check in on how they are experiencing their current reality. And the other thing that they don't know is what it would be like if they were a person who was already achieving the goal that they wanted, the desired outcome. So for my person, it was 4 to 6 sales per month. Okay. And that would make a very nice living. And I'm going to see if I've got a big enough pen to show that. Okay. So first it's like, yeah, what do you want? She said 4 to 6 sales per month. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's great. Okay. That's what she wants. And she was doing a lot of stuff. But what was taking up her mental bandwidth, her emotional bandwidth, was this other stuff. And we could say, I'm going to write coworker. I'm going to write stupid company. Okay. Ugly neighborhood. And she was physically tired. Okay. Coworker, stupid company, ugly neighborhood, physically tired. Okay. So as I had to write these down, think about this negative first. On a scale of 1 to 10, physically, how are you noticing that? Scale of 1 to 10, how much energy is that taking? She felt a 7 out of 10. Okay. Now, when you think about these 4 to 6 sales, yeah. Oh, yeah, that would be awesome. Great. Now, physically get the sense if you were a person who sold consistently 4 to 6 sales per month, how would that feel? And she kind of went back. She's like, well, I've never really sold 6. I've sold 4. I said, okay, 4. So how many times, but have you ever sold 5? Yeah. So what did I do? I immediately kind of moved her out of what was kind of comfortable and in between the two. So think about the time you sold 5. Okay. So what did we do? Where did her mind go? It went to the past. And this is the thing about your unconscious mind. It only knows how to go to the past, even though we have this really powerful imagination. But when we are operating, here's a little science. When we are in our normal beta thinking, right now we're in beta, we're thinking, we can only be aware of basically 4 to 7 things at any given moment. Anything else starts stressing us out if we start focusing on more. Okay? But how do we know which 4 to 7 things we should be focusing on? Well, everything you're focusing on now is based on a decision you made in the past. And it was usually not a decision about your future. It was about how to cope in that moment. And it was a decision, how can you get through? It was also something that probably reaffirmed a decision that you had made about yourself in the past, as being someone who struggles, who's not listened to, who's not supported, that's not heard. Being heard and listened to, they sound like they should be the same. They're really a little different. Someone who has the ability to do what they want, right? So all that's based on the past. And right now, you don't know how it would be to have consistent, whatever your new goal is. For her, that was a pipe dream. That was the thing her company said she should have. This is the thing she wanted. But she really was like, gosh, about the time things start getting really good, I start getting overwhelmed. It gets too busy. It's too much. Okay? So that's why I brought her back to, well, what's the stuff that's occupying your thoughts? Remember 4 to 6 things? Well, she was spending her energy and time and most of her bandwidth on fussing about her coworker, being mad at her company, instead of saying, you know what, I've agreed to work here, and so I guess this is the way it's going to be. Because if I'm taking their money to be in integrity, I'm doing things their way, since that's why they hired me. The ugly neighborhood, right? The being physically tired, and that tiredness actually had to do with all the energy she was expending here. So I had her go through and go, of all the things that's on this negative, which things do you have control over? And the only thing that she could circle was her physical energy. Everything else she had no control over in that moment. Hey, fish going to swim, birds going to fly, a-holes are going to be a-holes. But what did I say? If it's affecting you, it's matching your energetic and your belief system. Okay, they are at a match. But she really can't control the coworker. What can she control? Herself. The stupid company. All she can do is follow the rules, follow their plan until it either works or it doesn't work, right? And then a new thing happens, and she can keep being verbal and making suggestions and being, there's certain things she can do, but for the most part, she is not going to change that company or the company culture. Okay, but what can she change? She can change her own culture, her internal emotional culture. She can change the culture she's creating inside of her office, right? And then the ugly neighborhood, what could she actually do? Well, right now she's going to have to just say, well, I don't know how this neighborhood, I don't know how to change this, right? I don't know how to change this outer environment. So I really have no control. But if the next question becomes, how will focusing on the negatives get you what you want? How will focusing on the negatives get you what you want? And the answer is, if you go, I don't know how, you're exactly right. It's like, it can't. So I explained to her, like, there was, and the person who's listening, she's a regular client, and she may see this video, but, there was some tasks they were having her do, and I said, well, how are the big performers taking care of this one task that you don't want to do? She said, they just get it done. Why? Why are they just getting it done? Because it takes away from their focus of getting their 4 to 6 sales. They have one idea, one thing that they're focusing on, and then they're shifting their behavior, they're shifting their thoughts and their energy to that. So everything they do, unless it directly produces this in their business, they don't waste time on it. As we started thinking of examples of the things that she's doing versus what they're doing, she realized how she was spending a lot of time with the wrong people. And not just, the wrong people who were maybe negative thinkers, but also the wrong level of clients for her. Okay. And if she said, well, the company wants a relationship, they want to keep these in the pipeline, then as we aligned to this goal, then a new idea arrived on how to deal with the people who are not the right people. So what I'm saying is, as you keep your focus here and you let go of this, then you're going to start getting the answers on how to solve these problems. But it is by being this person, being the one who is focusing here. Okay. So on my desk, I've got a goal, and I actually have this. So think about this. And like I said, I'm going to be posting this up in the files. Give me right now, if you have any questions or comments, this is a great time. Thank you, Kathy, for joining. Hey, Steve, sweet Steve. Is this making sense, what I'm saying? So this is just 2 steps. And if you did nothing more than this, this will totally change your life. Now, here are some of the questions that I have on this one side, on the negative. Do I have control over this? Is this my concern or responsibility? Will focusing on this help me achieve my desired outcome? And then, why does this matter? Right? Why is this bothering you? But then you come back over here and you might sit with it. You might get answers, you might not. Okay? But then as you come over here and you start aligning, go, okay, my goal is this 4 to 6 sales a month. Okay? On focusing on this, what do I actually have control over? And here's the thing. What I discovered when I have a big goal, and I learned this working in apartments, is I had a monthly goal that I had to achieve, and I had a budget limitation. So my goal was to always be under budget and bring in more cash than projected. That was just the game I played. So I put those 2 numbers on my phone. I put them on a sticky and I put them on my phone just so that number was always there. I didn't do commands or pray or meditate. It was like, this is my goal. And then I focused on what I had control over. So what do I have control over? I have control over, in this instance, how many realtors I'm calling. In her case too. What I have control over is following up. What I have control over is making sure that my office is optimal environment. I have control over my sales system. I have control over my attitude. You see that? But focusing on what are the things you actually have control over. Second, what is my concern or responsibility? And this is a big one because so often we try to play armchair quarterbacks with the presidents of our company, right? or armchair, we're always second guessing, and we get kind of involved in some drama and some things that are really not our concern. Okay? So for her, I had to say, what is your main concern in this job? And it was, hey, show these homes and sell them, right? My responsibility is to be consistently marketing. Okay? Well, how does this negative? Are you able to do that if you focus on this? Nope. So she got really clear and brought it back to your main responsibility is to be true to yourself, be in alignment with your values, and remember why you're working. Okay? Then asking from this position, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is who I am. What do I focus on to achieve my desired outcome? Because it's so easy. We'll think, oh, I got to do this 10,000 things in order to get what I want. And honestly, if you focused consistently on 1 or 2 things, and I'm going to tell you like one thing, to do one thing really well, consistently over and over again, you're going to get your desired results. But what do you have to focus on? And then this is where you break it down into the measurables. Okay, so I'm going to focus on making sure that I make phone calls every day. I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to outreach to the people who, are network that can help me achieve this goal. Okay? That's what I'm going to focus on. Here are the things I'm doing. Here's the one outcome I'm after, and then staying with that. And then, am I doing what matters? So these are the questions I have down here. Am I doing what matters? And am I doing what matters in this job, in getting your results? But also, are you doing what matters to you? And if initially you go, it really wasn't my dream to, I don't know. Like there was a time I had a cleaning company, and I was climbing upstairs, and my fingers all hurt, and my knees hurt, and I was like, oh, what the hell have I done? Why did I start this company? This is hard. But then I had to go, and what I'm doing matters. Yeah, because at the time, that was the fastest way for me to generate cash that I needed for a big life change that I was going through. I started the clean company because I was at a point where I was having to start all over with getting a house, a car, my own clothes again, food, shelter. I mean, like I literally had nothing. And that was the fastest way for me to generate quick cash. And I focused on that one thing. And in fact, I finally got a regular job just so I could get a little rest, but I actually made less money. I should have hired more people. Okay. But I had to align emotionally. Is this going to help me achieve my bigger goal? Is this going to serve a greater purpose? But what I'm doing today, will it matter in this goal? And then like if she wants to achieve this 4 to 6 sales, she can expand that out. Selling these 4 to 6 homes help me get the bigger thing that I want. And she got a really clear yes. And when she started focusing on this, and then all she did was shift her thinking to this position, then I asked her again. So when you think about achieving those 4 to 6 sales, and I did ask her the 7 to 10 also. I'm kind of going through this teaching kind of quickly. Now, when you think about being able to make 4 to 6 sales, how doable does that feel? She's like, oh my God, yes, I absolutely can do it. And what do you need to do in order to do it? And boom, just the whole thing simplified. And she was able to make a quick action list. And then the other information came from there. Then I had her come back and check. Now, when you think about the weight of all this resistance, that's what it is. All these arguments you're having about your current reality is resistance. Now, how does that feel? And she's like, I can't even believe I spent my time on that. That's like a 0. So now what she has on her desk is this paper. And what she has is her action steps are lined out. And the other thing is she's made a commitment to following through. Okay? So simple. Now there is an extra step that we always bring in with the one command. And if you go, Catherine, that was lovely because she had you. And you can have me too. I do work with people one-on-one. And if you want to see what that would look like, all you got to do is send me a private message. And we'll talk about what your goals are, what's stopping you, and my recommendation on how you could achieve it and if I could be of any help to you. Okay? But here's the extra step. If, for whatever reason, you like these? Is this making sense? So the gap. Right now, she was able to, if we identified the resistance, right? We went through that. And then the focus. But we go, when I think about this, I don't know. I can't shift my thinking. I'm really having trouble because, Catherine, in my long history of being a human on the planet, you would not believe the people that have failed me. You would not believe the times I have failed. You would not believe the stuff my dad told me or my boss, or you don't understand. I've got a situation that has never been seen on the planet before for any other human, which is not true. And you know it, and I know it. And we know people who have had overcome much more, right? We know. Man, that used to kill me. Going, man, why am I suffering? There are people who are climbing up out of garbage heaps and making $1 million, and here I'm just being neurotic. But there is an idea that you may not be able to get over. And what is that idea? Well, it could be I'm confused. It's like, you know what? I don't even know what to focus on. I know I just need to make more money, right? Or this thing that I want seems like it's dependent on other people. Okay? So your belief, that's the gap, right? This thing I want depends on other people choosing me. This thing I want depends on a skill set that I don't have. This thing I want scares the shit out of me. Okay, we're just going to make a rule Catherine can cuss. Is that okay? Give me a thumbs up if Catherine can cuss. We're going to just say this because this is the way people think. Okay? So what we put in the middle is, what is stopping you from focusing on your desire? What is stopping you? And that's where you do the command. So if your belief is the reason that I can't focus, it won't matter if I focus, is that I have to wait for people to choose me, then what you do is you flip it. You just do the opposite. Keep it simple. So if in order to have what I want, if the belief, listen to this, if you hear yourself say these words, yeah, I would like to do that, but I don't know what I need to do in order to make that happen. I mean, I study, but there's some hole in my knowledge base, my skill set, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm too stupid or I'm too old, right? I don't know. But whatever belief you've said out loud, flip it into a command. So I don't know how I have the knowledge I need in order to focus on my goals. I only know I do now, and I am fulfilled. I don't know how I acquire the skills I need in order to achieve my goal. I only know it's so now, and I am fulfilled. Now, the cool thing about acquiring skills, guys, is you don't have to learn every single thing in order to achieve every single thing you want. All you got to notice is what skill do you need? Do you want to invest the time to develop it yourself, or do you want to go ahead and save yourself about a year of struggle and frustration and doing something outside of your genius zone, and go ahead and just hire someone who knows how to do it, or partner with someone who's great at it? Why don't we just do what's easy, right? So acquire is an important word. All right. I don't know how. I'm the kind of person who has focus, because you might have been told that you have ADHD, or that you have some kind of brain thing that doesn't allow you to focus. And guys, I'm going to be transparent. Guys, I have a mental illness. I'm not even going to, I honestly do. I have anxiety disorder. And if I get too many things going at once, I can get triggered. And the way it triggers me is one of two ways. One, I'll start kind of sweating, my breathing, my stomach gets upset, and I get really heavy. But then the other way it happens is I'm like a dang fainting goat, knock out, because my system's flooded with cortisol. That's my personal structural weakness. I used to be ashamed of it, but then I realized, like, wow, this is so cool, because I grew up hyper vigilant. I used to pay attention to every single thing. I was tracking everything, everywhere, all the time. And then I had a big psychic awakening that opened up all my psychic channels. And so now I'm not only tracking everything in this known world, I'm tracking all the multi-dimensions in time and people's emotions and the 10,000 possibilities. And woo, woo, I don't know how I got one foot in front of the other, honestly, but it's because I'm stubborn and I knew how to focus. Right? But what happened after I had a big physical crash back in 2005, that was a big big asthma episode, my ability to deal with stress has gone down. And what a blessing, because before you could just pile it on me and I would keep going. And it cost me more than my health. I had to rebuild all my family relationships, everything else, because I did not believe anybody would help me or could. And now, having this narrower focus, allowing myself time and space to limit my activities and to live without stress, I have much more open, cooperative relationships, way more enjoyment. And now I'm not on medication anymore. But every once in a while, yeah, things will still happen. It'll surprise me. Like one day we went to a new place over Christmas, and I was with my granddaughter and tracking my grandbaby, and we walked into a soap store, and like not Bed Bath and Beyond, but Body Works. And so 10 million candles, 10 million fragrances, everything. The store was crowded, and it just overloaded my system. And the way anxiety disorder works is basically your brain hits a point where it starts processing every single thing you see or hear or experience as danger, and it throws you into survival mode. So now the gift of that has been I get to focus on fewer things, and I'm getting bigger results in my life. And I'm having way more fun. Woohoo! Woohoo! So coming back to this, and hey Wendy, hey Ronell. You'll be able to catch the recording on this, and I'm going to have these documents. So if you find that there is a gap, whatever negative idea you come up with, we call that a concern. We just simply flip it. And you might go, I don't have confidence. Well, I don't know how I develop the confidence. I don't know how I have the courage to move forward, even though I don't feel confident. I only know that I'm committing to focusing on the right things right now. Yeah, so whatever argument pops up, nip it in the bud with a one command statement. Now, you can just make the statement out loud, or you can go through the 6 steps. Okay? But then, as you come up with what your resistance is, the stuff you're focusing on that has nothing to do with the thing that will get you what you want, and then you've come up with what your concern is, then here's what I would do. I would fold this in a trifold and then see what's on the back. Look at what Catherine made for you. Look at this. So you can print these out every day, right? What am I focusing on today? My big goal. Well, what's my gap? What do I think I need in order to achieve that, right? And then if you're noticing you have resistance, you can just put it there. And then as you write down what your resistance is, guess what happens? Your brain thinks you've handled it because you took an action on it, and then you make a decision like, well, none of this has anything to do with the thing I'm focusing on, my main goal. And you can keep this in your purse, and you can make one every day, and this will help you track your progress. Is that fun? Give me a thumbs up if you like this. Does this make sense? And we did a little teaching before on resistance and your focus. So I'm going to be posting both of these, and I would love in this thread on Saturday, we're going to be talking about ways to stay focused, tips and tricks, and how to really train your mind to seek out the solution and seek out the people to align to, seek out those relationships, seek out what it is you need to change in your environment in order to support your goal. So this month in May, every Saturday on the Pro Life Tips, we're going to be talking about focus. Okay. And I would love to get your pro-life tip, the little things that help you focus. Are you a list maker? Do you do vision boards? Do you, one thing I really am, I'm a big believer in is cleaning with intention. We're going to be talking about all of that. But if you find tips or videos, share them in this thread, because I'm creating resources for the other members, and we are co-creating this group together. So if this was helpful, thank you so much. Be sure and give me a big like on this. It helps if you comment, because what we're doing right now, a little Facebook algorithm thing, is Facebook likes to see how engaged our group is, and if people are commenting, and if we are delivering things of value. So if this has been valuable to me, valuable to you, be sure and put a comment, and invite people to the group. I have a big vision that we are going to change the planet with this work, and you are a part of that vision. So invite your friends. It's real easy, and we'll be talking more about that. We're going to be having some contests and everything else. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off for now. This is Catherine Perry, the Big Vision Coach, and you are a money mind master, and I witness your greatness now, and I am fulfilled. So until next time, this is me loving you. Bye-bye, everyone.